Let's go to Roger in Minnesota then. Roger, what's up?
Hey, Jason. Well, as everybody said, kudos to you. Great job to Alex. One question that I have, something that's intrigued me for quite some time, is with the assassination of several members of the Kennedy family, how can the living Kennedy family members endorse people like Obama and whatever? They have to have known what was behind their family members getting killed. I can't comprehend it.
Well, I'll tell you what it is. It's the graves of John Kennedy and John Kennedy Jr. I mean, if you watch JFK 2, The Bush Connection, it really lays out a case for George H.W. Bush's involvement in the assassination of Kennedy and this whole, power struggle between that faction of, I guess you would quote-unquote, the establishment and Joe Kennedy's faction. Now, after they killed John, they killed Robert right at the moment that he was going to win the Democratic nominee. I mean, it was at the California primary where he won. So, I mean, there's two dead bodies. Now, Robert Kennedy Jr. goes about as far as anybody on the left will. He's had, Dylan, myself on his radio show. He's open to a lot of aspects of 9/11 truth. It's rather surprising. He's a rather good speaker, and who knows, maybe he's setting himself up to be, running for president. I'm not sure. Ted Kennedy also, went through that whole Chappaquiddick thing and has been silent ever since. Basically, I think they give you a choice when you're at that establishment level. Go along or you're going to get killed. And
but even with Caroline Kennedy, that was her own father, for God's sakes.
I hear you, man, but, just look at Jackie O. She kept quiet and tried to raise her kids under the radar, and, she wasn't successful in, letting them keep their hands off of John. He put out a mainstream magazine. He had a legitimate shot at the presidency. He had a legitimate shot of reopening the investigations into his uncle and father's murder, and then all of a sudden his plane goes down. Actually, the same guy that did JFK 2 did a John F. Kennedy Jr. documentary as well. His name's John Hankey. I've interviewed him. He's a hell of a researcher, but I think fear plays into it. Even on those establishment levels, not everybody is as righteous as you or me. You know what I'm saying?
But somebody like Caroline Kennedy, even though if it was fear was a motivating factor, they wouldn't kill her, I don't think, for not necessarily supporting Obama. So how can she do that when she knows what happened to her father? I just don't get it.
Well, they're still stuck in these left-right politics. They probably see a lot of other things behind the scenes that we don't see. I'm sure that they are believers in the lesser of two evils, but, to say that they wouldn't kill her, I don't think that they would put it past killing her. I could see a car accident. I thank you for the call. I don't think anybody is above these assassins' bullets, especially not a Kennedy or even Caroline Kennedy. That's just my personal opinion. All right, let's jump to Mike in Tennessee. Mike, what's on your mind?
Good afternoon. This is call Mr. Beckman, who may be listening, and if not, Mr. Beckman, tune in another 4 hours and re-catch the broadcast. But we need your help. We need you to prepare a presentation that we can direct at veterans jurors, because they understand the concept of defending our republic and the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Well, I'll say this. Hold on. There is quite a few presentations by Red Beckman already up at YouTube, so if you have internet access, you can see those.
Okay, what's the website?
If you just go to youtube.com and you just type in Red Beckman, a few of his lectures are up in separate parts. I checked it out before he came on.
Well, also, there's a problem right now. The jury pools are being pre-screened by the government, and the juries are being loaded up with the spouses of police officers, government employees, and they're doing what they're told, and they're otherwise beholding the government. And also the jurors are being asked by the judges if they will follow the law as the judge instructs. And if the juror says anything other than yes, or indicates they would also judge the law, well, they're booted off the jury. And the judge never tells the jury that they judge not only the facts, but also the law.
Well, there's no doubt that our court system, especially in this country, is completely and totally rigged. And in light of a miracle, the average citizen doesn't really have that much of a chance against the state or the district attorney. I thank you for the call. We have to keep standing up for ourselves. We just have to keep saying, well, that's against the Constitution and Bill of Rights. And yeah, there are a lot of corrupt judges out there. There are a lot of judges on the take. There are a lot of judges that are just pompous and just arrogant with power. That just speaks to the nature of the American citizen to me. We feel a sense of entitlement, and when we're given power, we often abuse it. Why is that? Let's jump to Ken in New York. Ken, what's on your mind?
Yeah, hello, Jason.
Yes.
Yes, this is Ken. I'm actually out on Long Island, and I have to say that right now this is probably the most brainwashed area of the country.
It's pretty bad, man. I mean, I go to Long Island a lot, and, you know, it's all about blowouts and popped collars and some trendy bar where I'm going to spend $8 on a beer and $15 on a mixed drink, and people are totally gone from reality. It's all about going to the shore and the Hamptons and what car I drive and how much gel's in my hair. It's pretty sickening.
Yeah, it is. I mean, beyond the superficial nature of that, like you're saying, but I'm just saying, just like the working person. I mean, they just don't... But I've also noticed lately that people are waking up a little bit.
Well, I think that in the city you see a lot more people waking up in Queens and in the Bronx and in Brooklyn. It's because those people are working class people, and they don't have this aristocratic, elitist attitude, man. You know, I went to school in upstate New York with a lot of friends from Long Island. Actually, when I take off on Thursday, I'm going to a Long Island wedding. You know, and you know, my ex-girl's from Long Island. And they just are just on another level of non-reality. You kind of feel a sense of entitlement if you didn't grow up in Long Island and you're able to move there. Yeah, have you noticed that? They're like, oh, I live on Long Island now. Yeah,
oh, yeah, well, the newest thing on Long Island is the McMansion. Well, instead of building like communities where the average person can afford a house, for the last 10 years, all the contractors have been building, you know, they're buying a piece of property they used to put 50 houses on and putting 10.
Well, that's why
because they can charge, they put a profit margin on it.
Oh yeah, well that's why I'm down at ground zero, man. It's not for those Long Island creeps. Although if they want to listen, they can. I mean, I'm not against people that are able to make it in this world and go out there, but the attitude, man, the elitist attitude of these people, it's something that's kind of unbelievable if you're not a New Yorker and you don't know it. I mean, I'm out in Texas. People really can't relate, but really they treat you like you're less of a person. They send their kids to college in Eddie Bauer mobiles and, you know, 2006 luxury sedans, and these kids have no grip on reality. They literally got like an 800 or 900 on their SAT. They're in a state school. They have no idea what they want in life. They leave college, and then they go and move back in with their parents most of the time. I mean... Dude, it's a sick culture down there.
I know a lot of people who do that. I know people who have families because it's, you know, the fact of the matter is with all the people who are moving here for the McMansion thing, you know, people have made some money in the stock market or they became lawyers or whatever. Basically, I grew up on Long Island, and when I was a kid, we made things. We put a man on the moon. You know, I mean, neighbors were engineers. My friend's father built his business by working nights building the Long Island Expressway so he can afford his own business. You know, people worked. They actually were people who were getting ahead in the world. Now it's all nothing but doctors and lawyers and bankers.
Well, absolutely. Well,
you
we
know,
don't
people
make
who are shuffling papers
country
for a living.
Yeah, there's no room for blue-collar workers in Long Island anymore unless you got your house 25 years ago. And
and it's also an angle of brainwashing, too, because if you talk to older people, like I'm 43, I'm like right at the beginning of the Gen X generation. And I see my friends and people younger than me either leaving or finding it very difficult to make a living here.
Yeah, no, mine too, man. I mean, a lot of my friends, well, you know, a couple of them have paid a lot of money to go, again, live out in Queens or the Bronx, and they work into Manhattan, but, you know, their parents grew up in Long Island. They just can't afford it, and like you said, more and more elitists will move in there. What really bothers me there is, again, the willingness not to even look at this stuff. This is the problem. The apathetic, oh, well, you know what, I got a big screen television, I'm in a nice area, I drive a nice car, I could care less about politics. I don't need to tell you anything that isn't on CNN or MSNBC. That should be enough for you.
Oh, people are hooked.
They are.
But the funny thing is I do find more people are listening now. But also, I find the people who are against it are even angrier when you say it. So it's almost like we're being polarized a little bit. Like, there are people out there who maybe they didn't get angry, but they were afraid to just say anything.
Well, one of the great things about that area is at least you guys have WBAI that broadcasts pretty broad, and they're not the greatest. They're a little leftist, but they do broadcast a bit of the truth. I thank you for the call, Ken. I hope you call me later in the week.
Good to talk to you guys. God bless Alex doing this work. I just want to weigh in real quick. We got to stop playing this game, the right and the left. These political parties have been hijacked by these globalists. They're New World Order puppets, and it's a distraction to what really needs to happen in this country. So thank goodness you guys are exposing this, because you do not see this media give us any resemblance of the truth.
Absolutely
and
not.
Somebody has to do it.
No, they're always trying to get you stuck into conservative or liberal, left or right, Democrat or Republican, and they tried to attack Corsi as a right winger when he went after Obama, and he's like, look, man, I'm voting Chuck Baldwin. I don't know what you're talking about. It's pretty funny that he kind of denied 9/11 Truth right there, and he's voting for the 9/11 Truth candidate, but it shows he's hip, and he's just trying to sell a couple books. He knows what's going on. But more and more people not only have to know what's going on, they have to make it acceptable to talk about and say, man, you're voting Democrat or Republican, you're part of the problem.
No better. This is a guy that is a New World Order puppet. He is basically committed treason against this country, and these are the people. If you don't think Barack Obama is some type of prophet, which is the biggest misconception that you have in today's media, but we're brainwashed idiots in this country.
Oh, yeah.
The majority of Americans are brainwashed.
Yeah, it's change you can vote for. There'll be no change other than that appearance that Democrats are in, Republicans are not. The same elitists are behind him. You can tell from his global world order speech out in Berlin. Thank you very much, Frank. He literally said, again, global citizenship. You will do more, not less in the future. And we're global citizens, folks. We're part of this world, this one world. And this new world order they're trying to create, well, I'm not going to be a part of that. And I'm going to do everything in my living, waking bones to oppose it.